Good afternoon, Iowa City. You're listening to KRUI. It's 89.7 FM on your radio, krui.fm to stream online. My name is Justin Comer. The show you're about to listen to is called iHearIC Radio. It's a show about local music and local art in general, and the people who make it. And before I get rolling today, this episode, number 91, is dedicated to my old friend Jordan Blue. I grew up with him in Cedar Rapids, and he now lives in Minneapolis, and he was kind enough to host me, my wife, and my brother-in-law at his apartment last night after we saw Stereo Lab in Minneapolis, which was a good time. It was nice to see him again, and, good friend forever. So, today, let's get into the meat of the program. I have a guest in the studio with me who has not spoken yet. Now you're about to start.
I was just fired off too early. Look at that. I'm already screwing up.
No, you're good. I just hadn't turned your mic on yet.
All good, all good.
So, today's guest is, you want to go by your real name or only stage name?
I'll just introduce myself.
Yeah, go for it.
I like to speak.
That'd be good.
So my name is Alex Jameson. On Facebook, my name is Alex Carey. Mm-hmm. My artist title is Thieves, as in people who steal.
Good.
I initially started because I was doing nothing but covers, and then I realized I got kind of sick of that.
I was going to ask you about that, so we'll check that one off.
Yeah, well, it was actually initially the title came from a song by Regina Spektor.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was the song Us.
Yep.
And she says, living in a den of thieves. And I was like, den of thieves is great. And then I realized I was solo, and I was like, well, I'll just go with thieves.
Yeah, which is still plural, but...
Yeah, you know, I don't question things I did in 2010.
Yeah, neither do I.
There you go.
Zero regrets or questions about my activities.
That's it.
9 years ago. So you're a Regina Spektor fan?
Honestly, I heard that one song after I watched...
You're a fan of one Regina Spektor.
It was 500 Days of Summer, which I personally did not enjoy at all. But the song was fantastic.
That's a rough one, that movie.
It was like, I expected it to be good, and it was good at first, and then the turn it takes, I was like, well, this is just depressing.
It's hard to watch.
I'm not into this anymore. Yeah. So I dropped that pretty quick. Yeah.
So Alex is here. Thieves is your stage name.
My artist name.
Yeah. Band name. Do people, is part of the thing with the plural noun as your band name, do you want people to think that you're more than one person?
No. I honestly just think it sounds better than thief. And I'm so stuck on Thieves being my title that just going by thief didn't appeal to me. I didn't like the way it sounded.
It's a very different sounding word.
Yeah.
You got that like hard F.
And it kind of like, I'm getting too like into it here, but it's kind of like it's not just me. It's me. It's a variety of stories I have to tell. A lot of my lyrics, pretty much all of my lyrics have a story behind them. There's a purpose for them. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, this is me. This is my, when I play live, it's me, my acoustic guitar, and like a backpack full of songs. And it's, to me, you're not just one person at that point. For me, it's like, this is my band. It's me, my guitar, and my songs. Okay. So I kind of just stuck with the Thieves name after that, and it stuck around. I liked it, and I did, like I said, going by Thief didn't work for me. So
right. Yeah, that all makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about where you come from. This is our first time meeting in person, but
absolutely is. Yeah.
We have talked a little bit online, and you are from Canada.
I'm from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Get it right. No, I'm kidding.
Well, no. I mean, I know Quebec is like a very different part of Canada. They want to be, in fact, their own thing, right?
Yeah, the separatist movement is a thing. This is true.
Yeah. And you grew up there?
Yeah, I was actually born in Nova Scotia. Okay. So I'm from the east coast of Canada. Yeah. I moved when I was about 6 years old. My dad got a job in the big city of Montreal, and I just moved, obviously, with him, and my life just continued to evolve there. And there were opportunities to move away, but I had friends. Some of my family was still there. I had history there, so I was basically there until November of last year.
Yeah, okay. I relate to that a lot. I've lived in Iowa for almost my entire life for similar reasons. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go.
So pretty much my only knowledge of Canada comes from like Trailer Park Boys.
I was waiting for that to come in.
You said Nova Scotia. I was like, okay, this guy definitely knows.
Yeah, I'm I watch that show a lot, and that seems to be a lot of, after moving here and meeting, people from, like, I worked in Cedar Rapids. I still work in Cedar Rapids. a lot of the friends I made, they were like, "Oh, Canada, like Trailer Park Boys,
Right.
the Red Green Show," and I'm
Yes,
like,
that's
yeah.
another one. Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you must really like Rush," and I'm like, they're a good band, but it's not because they're Canadian. It's a bonus.
So you're pro Rush.
Yeah,
Some people aren't.
I'm actually one of the few that's pro Rush and pro Geddy Lee's vocals.
Oh,
and
yeah?
a lot of people are not.
Yeah.
I'm a big Rush fan because of my dad.
Okay.
My dad's a big Rush fan. I'm pretty sure he's not even a fan of Geddy Lee's vocals. I think they're tight. I
Yeah.
think they're cool.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I grew up liking Rush a lot. Like Rush was a big one for me in high school.
Absolutely.
They kind of pushed the envelope a little bit.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
the kind of progressive rock,
Mhm.
but like at a whole nother level, in my opinion, at
Yeah.
least. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the lyrics I can kind of do without a lot of the time, especially at this point.
I think my dad's brought that up too, because I think the lyricist is the drummer.
Yeah, Neil
Yeah,
Peart does
yeah,
most of
he's the
lyrics.
lyricist.
Yeah.
And my dad is like, we've been in the car, like just bumping Rush, heading wherever,
Mm-hmm.
and a certain line would pass, and my dad was like, "You have to hear how stupid this is," and he'd rewind it and like say it to me and be like, "It doesn't make any sense." And
Yeah.
it's like another thing. A lot of this, my dad's taught me a lot of what I know and love about music, and one thing he taught me as well was it was from another song. I can't remember the song, but he said, "Never be clever for the sake of being clever," and I feel like that's kind of like being clever for the sake of being clever is like Neil Peart's.
It's
like,
kind of annoying.
bread and butter. It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much how he writes his lyrics.
Yeah, just saying something that sounds kind of smart, just to
Just to be like, I'm an artist.
Yeah,
look
look
at what
how-
I can do.
look how cool my song is.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So you don't live in Canada anymore. You now live in our state of Iowa.
Yeah,
And what brought you here?
My girlfriend, my significant other, if you will, we met online and started dating, and I was visiting a lot, and it was a very expensive.
I imagine.
It was monthly. I was coming at least once a month for a week.
Yeah.
And
Which airport were you coming into?
Eastern Iowa.
Okay, the
Yeah.
Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We live out in Anamosa.
Yeah, right.
So, like, actually, I make it sound like it's closer. It's still 35 minutes away. But, yeah, that's pretty much, I was coming to that airport a lot. And the traveling aspect was fun. I was like, I would go to Chicago, like O'Hare or whatever. I'd go to, like, Minneapolis or, all these different places. And I was like, this is so cool. And then I was looking at my wallet, and I'm like, this is not very cool.
This part's not great.
Well, that part's not great, and honestly, like, that sounded kind of selfish of me. It's kind of unfortunate to be with somebody you really care about, and then 7 days later, it's like, oh, I got to go back to somewhere that I'm not really that happy being in anyway. So I'd go back home, and I would dread it, and then I would visit again, and it got to a point where it was too difficult, and then I got stopped at the airport.
Oh, okay.
For traveling too frequently. And I actually got fingerprinted.
Oh, wow.
And I got sent home. The gentleman told me...
You were trying to come here and they
I was trying to visit for the holidays.
Yeah.
And the gentleman told me, we're not letting you in the United States of America. And I was like, well, this is a thing. I'm like, I literally cannot see my partner. I can't. There's nothing I can do.
Because you were
stuck.
coming here too often.
Too often, and I didn't mention this part, but I also only bought a one-way ticket.
Okay.
But it's
so
someone
it
gave
seemed
me,
like you might be up to something.
Someone gave me the bright idea of buying a one-way ticket and saying, when you're ready to come back, just buy a ticket then. But of course, to the government, it's like, what are you trying to do here, son?
Yeah, he's not going back.
Yeah. So
although we were talking about this outside, but you have dual citizenship, right?
Yeah.
So shouldn't you have been able to stay anyway?
Well, actually, I'm going to finish that story because
Okay.
that actually leads to that. So basically, I asked the guy, like, how can I visit? It was like December 19th. I'm like, it's Christmas, man. How can I do this? And he's like, you got to bring up a ton of information that proves you have no reason to illegally migrate to the United States. So I went home, cried like a baby, got all my documents and everything set up, everything I needed, printed things, bank records, employment records, proof that I had a job, proof that I had, I was, like even like medical records just to prove that like I have doctors here. Da, da, da.
Yeah, you've got ties to where you live now.
So
Yeah.
I tried again 3 days later. We bought a random ticket, tried again 3 days later, and I had this lady who was kind of like processing everything, and she said, we'll let you through. I had all my documentation. She even called my girlfriend and was like, is this really your boyfriend? Like, it was like really intense.
Yeah.
And then right at the end, she was like, we'll let you through, but you have to come back in 10 days because that was my trip length. And I was like, okay. And then I was just like, by the way, my mom's American. Is there any way I can get around this? And she looked at me like I was an idiot. And she was like, you're a dual citizen. Oh. And I was like, I guess so. And she was like, get your passport. You'll never have to deal with this again.
Oh, man.
And I was like, I felt like a total moron. I was like, I should have said this earlier.
Yeah.
But that was a journey on its own. But I got it. I moved here last year in November, and life's been pretty good to me since I moved here, actually. I'm pretty happy with it. People here are friendly for the most part. It's pretty good environment, pretty good vibe. So
yeah. I don't want to move on too quick because it seems like if they are looking into you enough that they like see that you're going back and forth this frequently, it shouldn't be that hard to find out you're a dual citizen, right? Shouldn't that information already be available to them?
I think that would be too much to get into. It's a whole thing about my mom's American, but she's lived in Canada for so long she barely even had any record of her being American, and I had to do some digging to get some documents. And
it's just interesting to me like how much of this just relies on just people knowing their own situation. Like you think they have all these records somewhere, like the government has to know everything that's going on, right? But no,
they had no record of my mom being American. We had to find her birth certificate and then renew it because it was too damaged. It was like a whole big chore. It took like 8 months. This all happened December 2018, and I only moved here or December 2017, sorry. And I only moved here in November 2018. So it was like 8 months of trying to get my passport. It was kind of a mess, but now when I cross the border, when I'm at the airport, they're just like, oh, welcome home. And that's it. It's like 2 minutes.
They say welcome home either way.
Yeah, they say, well, yeah, exactly. Or like welcome back. Or it's like a joke now. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Works for me.
Yeah. So you've been here for almost a year now.
Yep.
And how have things been going for you musically since you moved down here?
Oh, way better.
Oh, really? Okay.
Way better. I was in a couple of bands when I was younger back in Montreal. I was in an emo band. I was in a metal band. Things were fun. We were playing shows. We were having some beers. We were hanging out. It was cool, but like I never got anywhere. I kept playing shows where only 5 people would show up. I kept doing, like promo where only 3 people would like or listen to my songs.
Been there.
And it's tough. And then out here, out of nowhere, I got a good job. I bought some new gear. I started learning how to record my own music. I made the jump from...
So you weren't recording in Canada. Down here is where you got started doing that yourself.
I recorded 2 songs while I was in Canada, like professionally. One of them didn't go so well. The other one went so well that he's become my audio engineer. And now when I record, I travel back to Canada just to record with him. But a lot of it was having demos here. I do a lot of my own, my guitar, the bass, the drums. I do a lot of that. I do all of it myself. So having those demos, I just bring them with me to Canada. My buddy, mixes them a little bit better, fine tunes them, and then we record the vocals. And since then, it's been like, as my music has increased in quality, I feel like the support has been a little bit more favorable.
Okay, that's good.
People are a lot more interested in listening and a lot more interested in sharing. And I get it because it's not the songs that aren't good. It's hard to listen to grainy, crappy laptop microphone quality acoustic guitar music. Now it's like a full vibe, and there's like, sometimes I incorporate strings in my music, sometimes there's piano. Like, it's just kind of a more full scale environment to kind of dive into.
Yeah, so a general audience will be a little more receptive to that.
And that's what's been happening out here. And it's just been, there's been more opportunities for shows and stuff like that. It's just been way cooler out here. And I've definitely been more into the music scene out here. Shout outs to a couple of my buddies back home who are killer artists. Fantastic bands and rappers and various musicians and producers and beat makers, but out here it just feels like it suits
You're
me
having
better.
a better time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good. I will say before we move on from that, if you are listening to this show and you have some grainy laptop mic recordings, I would like to hear them. If you want to send them to me, I can be reached via email, iHearIC@gmail.com, IHEARIC. Somebody will love it.
Oh, absolutely.
And while we're talking about it, I have your newest demo recording. Shall we listen to it now?
Yeah. This one's pretty important to me. So I'm definitely down to. Should I like formally introduce my song?
Yeah, if you want to talk about it before we play it, sure.
Yeah. It's I recorded this one, or I think I wrote this one. Sorry, about 2 years ago. It was I had a brief conversation with my mom at the time about JFK and Jackie, his wife, and it was about the tragedy that occurred, of course, and just
What tragedy was that?
it was the assassination.
Oh, I've heard about that.
Yeah. Who hasn't?
Sorry.
It's good to know. It was pretty. It was just an intense conversation I had with my mom, and then I went home and just wrote these fantastic lyrics, and put it all together. And here it is. Yeah, it's called Jackie Kennedy, and it's off my upcoming full-length album. Oh well.
Yes, which, as we just discussed, you just recorded this.
Yep.
Back home.
Yeah. This was recorded about a week ago. So yeah.
All right, so brand new stuff. This is, I think, an exclusive.
Absolutely.
At this point.
It sure is nowhere.
Awesome.
It's nowhere else except on my phone and my engineer's computer.
Awesome. So this is an iHearIC radio exclusive. So enjoy it, everybody. Here's Thieves with Jackie Kennedy.
Let your head down. You're among friends. We shut you out and we'll do it again. Don't you know there's a back door? There's only one place that you can hide tonight. Don't you know you're a master? It's not a piece that you can't find. And it's too cold. It feels like we just gotta save ourselves and God help us. We gotta save ourselves. The clouds are dark up in the sky. And back again, and I'm so goodness gracious, I'm alright. Well, don't you know that you're a messenger? Poor Jackie, she would have wanted it this way. Well, put your mind into a purse. Put your mind into a purse. Goodness gracious, I'm alright. Let your head down, you're among friends. We shut you out and we'll do it again.
Hey, we're back on the mic. It's iHearIC Radio on KRUI. You just heard Jackie Kennedy by Thieves. I've got Alex, the man behind Thieves, here in the room with me. And I want to discuss that song. But first, it's weather time. So, if you are relying on the radio for your weather report, I have a recommendation for you. You may want to check out weather.com to check the weather whenever you like, at your convenience. But if you're listening now and you need the information, here it is. It's 3:30 p.m. It's sunny, 61 degrees Fahrenheit. What's that in Celsius?
Oh man, that's a tough question.
You guys do Celsius.
We do
Canada,
Celsius,
right?
but I can't convert.
I don't know the conversion.
I don't know the conversion.
Yeah.
It's relatively cold, I guess.
But here it's 61 degrees Fahrenheit. We've got 0% chance of precipitation, 62% humidity, and 8-mile-per-hour winds coming from the west. That's been your weather report for today. All right, so Alex, let's talk about your song. Jackie Kennedy.
Oh, man.
I am not super good at retaining lyrics upon first listening to a song. So can you tell me a little bit about the lyrical content here?
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so it's kind of tough. Basically, the initial song inspiration, as I mentioned, came from it came from the supposed reaction of Jacqueline Kennedy after the assassination occurred.
Right. Like in the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was, these are all, I did a lot of research on this after I spoke to my mom about it, and it was a lot of like reports of her obviously in hysterics.
Yeah.
And reports of her, when something like that happens, you act in a way that's kind of bizarre sometimes. Like
yeah,
you
course.
don't
Yeah.
expect to. And I don't want to get too graphic about it, but basically it's kind of an introduction of like, just relax, take it easy, because it's supposed to be a good day. This is supposed to be a wonderful event, and you're excited about it, and you're happy about it. And it's kind of the let your hair down, you're among friends line is more of a like, just relax. Like things couldn't be better. You know what I mean? But of course, things do not go well, obviously. And it kind of slowly forms into her as in Jackie kind of reacting in a hysterical manner. I'm not sure if it's too graphic to discuss what people say happened. I don't want to get too gory, for lack of a better term. I'd like to avoid that if possible, but...
What was her reaction? If we can not get too graphic about the physical reality.
The best way is that it's just hysterical. And when you get hysterical, you do things or, act in certain ways that you don't expect.
Sure. Yeah.
And
something super traumatic happens right next to you.
Exactly.
And you psychologically, how do you react to that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, the song is kind of steering from that, let your hair down and take it easy and relax, all the way to even faking the fact that you're going to be okay. And that's the line. It's kind of it's simple, but it's the most powerful line in the song to me. And it's the goodness gracious, I'm all right line, which occurs twice in that song. And that line is supposed to go to it's like you're not all there and you're thinking like everything's fine, everything's going to be okay, but it's clearly not. And
well, denial is a stage of grief, so it makes perfect sense that would be involved.
Exactly. Yeah. And it kind of ties in where that song comes from and where the inspiration comes from, ties in with events that aren't even related to that event. It could tie into an event that somebody's experiencing and they listen to the song and they go, oh wow, I get that. I understand that feeling. It's tied in with feelings that I've had before. And that's kind of was the goal. That's actually what caused this old recording or this old song of mine to become re-recorded and released, is that I felt like it still had so much impact from the moment I wrote it until when I started tracking demos about a month ago. So yeah, that's in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's great. So you say that the lyrics relate to something that an individual unrelated may be experiencing. Are there any incidents that have happened to you that you relate to in these lyrics?
Yeah, I'm sure it's no secret to many people that I know or many people that I've spoken to, and it comes through my music a lot, but I have a lot of issues with depression and anxiety. Okay. And a lot of personal events that I've gone through, some which I'm comfortable discussing, some which I'm obviously not.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of them kind of do tie in with that. Actually, on a daily basis, I feel like I can relate to the I'm okay and everything's fine, because I panic a lot. Sure. During, like work can be stressful. Recording can be, I panicked when I was doing recording back in Montreal. It's kind of like, I'm okay. Like, just chill and take it easy and relax. You're in a good space. You're with good people. But you can't help but, no matter how good things are supposed to be, you're still like, I have 3 days in Canada or in Montreal. What if I can't record all this in time? I have 4 hours before this project is due at work. What if I can't finish it? And things like that make me realize how I wrote the song about a tragic event that happened years ago, and somehow the lyrics can still fit with something I'm experiencing at work on a Tuesday
much
afternoon.
Smaller events, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So that's kind of I didn't give a hard example, but it's very much it's something anybody can experience on a daily basis. And that's where a lot of my music comes from, and how I feel about it is I feel like you can listen to it and interpret it any way you want, as long as you feel something from it. And that's kind of my primary goal with it. And that's how I felt when I wrote that song.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. So it gets into sort of like the universal emotional and just mental, the human brain, I guess, how we react to situations we find ourselves in.
Exactly.
From, something as major as your husband being assassinated right next to you to something like, work stress.
Well, it's funny too, because I like to kind of because you're right about that, but I like to pinpoint that like things are relative. And that's also a big part of how I look at like my outlook on life in general is when you're panicking on a Tuesday afternoon because a report is due, or you have to give a presentation, or you have to host a meeting, the way you feel internally about that can feel major. It can be like, my world is going to end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though it's, in hindsight, you're like, oh, last week I panicked over a stupid meeting. But the day of and 5 minutes before, you feel like, I don't want to be here. And
it feels like that's everything.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. It's relative to, it can be something major, like what we discussed before with the song's, origin, or it can be something what you would consider minor, but in the moment, it feels so major.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's like, a lot of my music is about that. It's I do a lot of songs based off of tragedies or events that occur, or sad stories or depressing stories, and it's very much a, this happened to this person, but when you hear this and you feel like you can relate to it in a way, because you can hear this lyric about someone who passed away, but you can be like, this actually feels like me when I'm trying to, I had a friend tell me one of my songs that was about, someone whose life was taken. They told me like, oh, I thought that song was about your battle with smoking because I'm a former smoker. And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, but this lyric means this and this lyric meant that. And I'm like, that's not what my song was about. But it was so cool to have somebody go, I thought this was about this, because they can relate to that because we were both quitting smoking at the same time. Like, it's very, like, that's my goal with my music. And I feel like when I'm able to achieve that, it's like, it's what pushes me forward even more. You know what I mean? So...
Yeah. How long have you been writing songs?
Since grade 2.
Okay.
Second grade, I guess. I started writing music when I was really, really young.
Yeah.
I started writing a lot of really stupid, nonsensical lyrics about like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, sweet. Do you remember any of them?
Yes, but that's I stopped there. It's end of the line, man.
Because I am interested.
I do. I got a lot of like ridiculous songs I wrote, and I even had like band names that I made up that made no sense. Like I had a band when I was a kid. I'm doing air quotes, but
around
band.
Kid or a band?
A band. Okay. A band. I was definitely grade 2, grade 3. And it was called Cellular Turmoil. I had no idea what that meant.
You thought of that as like a 7 or 8 year old.
I used the word turmoil all the time.
Nice, yeah.
Found out what it meant when I was like 14. My dad was like, I was like, oh, I didn't realize. I just heard it on TV one day and thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
I had a wild imagination. I made up like games. I made up movies. My buddy and I used to, shout outs to my buddy AJ Young back in Montreal, best friends since like grade 2. Mm-hmm. We made up like movies together, and we made up like scripts. And it's funny now because now he writes crazy scripts and crazy stories, and he's a comedian as well. So
nice.
Kind of all comes together in that way.
Out, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I've been doing that since I was like really young, and it's just gotten better and better and better, and sometimes worse. One of my favorite songs on my upcoming album I wrote in 2012. Mm-hmm. And to me, that was one of the best songs I've ever written. And I was dead set on getting it on this album. And it's actually going to be the first song on the album. So very appropriate. But yeah, it's been like 20 years now that I've been doing this. So,
yeah, great.
Yeah.
So you're used to it now.
Yeah. I'm used to it, but it's a lot of like writer's block and stress of like writing lyrics and chucking it in the bin behind you because you're like, this just isn't good.
Even 20 years then.
Oh yeah. I had writer's block yesterday. I was in front of the Mac for like 3 hours and I came out with nothing. You know what I mean? It happens sometimes.
Yeah. How let's get into your like creative routines a little bit. So how often do you write lyrics?
Ooh,
and is that something that you do sort of divorced from musical thinking, like you just write words?
I've tried that before. A lot of it comes together in my head. I've actually seen how other musicians operate, and I listen to a lot of like hardcore.
Okay.
So sometimes I'm like, when this guy's just screaming the whole time, I doubt he's thinking of a melody while he's doing it. So I've tried just writing lyrics before, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I've tried coming up with the melody first and then writing the lyrics, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like,
so it's not always the same way for you.
Yeah, I don't have it just meshes together. A lot of my best songs are written back when I was in Montreal, when I would walk to work. I would just get my walk on. I'd be like, all right, my shift starts in an hour. It takes me 40 minutes to get there. I'd walk, take up my phone, and just start jotting down lines. And just referencing it again, that song I was telling you about, the first track on my upcoming album, I wrote that while walking to this, crappy warehouse job I had. And that song ended up being one of my favorite songs. It's just, it all just comes, there's no method to my madness.
Sure.
It just happens, and I'm like, thank God it does. 'Cause
Yeah. Well, what stands out to me with that anecdote is that you are using your commute time to, be creatively productive.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people struggle with, just finding time to make art that they want to make. But when you're able to do it in those little like in between moments, you can generate a lot of content that way.
Yeah, that's how some of my best songs happen. It's, and it's weird because inspiration hits me from, reading a wiki page on, the death of so-and-so, all the way to like watching a really good movie or I really like older films. Some of my songs have been, inspired from older films I've seen. And when that inspiration hits, it's like, I really want to do a song about this. And then I don't touch it. And then a week later, I'm walking to work and I'm like, wait, I got it. And I just start writing down lines. And I'm really into hip hop as well. And that helps a lot with my lyrics. I'm very proud of the way I structure my lyrics because I have kind of like a little bit of a hip hop-ish background, but I don't make hip hop music anymore, at least.
What's your hip hop background then?
Well, by that I kind of mean like I've done a lot of. Well, no, I did. I started making beats when I was in grade 5.
Okay,
they were not good.
So, what kind of software were you using back then?
Fruity Loops.
Because that would have been like at least 15 years ago.
I was using Fruity Loops before it was called FL Studios. It was just called Fruity. It was Fruity Loops 5, I think. And my brother had it, and my brother's really into hip hop. I have 2 older brothers. They're both really into hip hop, so they messed around with this kind of stuff, lyrics and beats, and I got involved in beats, and then it just continued. I started getting into making video game music, and then I started, just listening to more hip hop as I got older, and then I just started making beats again. I do that on the side to this day still sometimes, but it's definitely not a priority of mine. So.
Right. Okay, I got to take a break real quick.
Cool.
So, listeners, enjoy this Grant spot. It's about the Englert Theater, and then Alex and I will be back on the mics in just a minute.
All right.
Support for KRUI is brought to you in part by the Englert Theater. The Englert highlights the talents of local performers, artists, ensembles, and also hosts regional, national, and international touring performances. The Englert is located at 221 East Washington Street. For more information, call 319-688-2653 or visit www.englert.org.
All right, and we're back already. If you're just tuning in, this is iHearIC Radio on KRUI. It's a show about local music. I'm Justin. Across from me is Alex.
Hey.
Band name, artist name, stage name is Thieves.
It sure is.
And before our brief break for the Englert Grant spot, we were discussing Alex's somewhat background in hip-hop.
Yeah, I chose that was a poor phrasing on my part. It's not like I came from like a former rap group or anything.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of Canadians who have a rap background, you know about Tom Green? You familiar with his work?
Of course I'm familiar with Tom. Don't give me Tom Green. Don't give me that.
Are we pro or anti-Tom Green? Or neutral?
The only thing, I think I discussed this with you briefly outside before we started, is I think Tom Green was in an episode of Clone High, and that's basically my only Tom Green that I've enjoyed.
Okay.
Aside from that,
but you've attempted to enjoy other Tom Green material.
Yeah, he had a show. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had a show, and I think it was completely destroyed by 4chan or something.
Oh, right. Yeah, when we were probably in our late teens, he was doing a live stream call-in show, and some internet people decided to
take
do quote unquote prank calls.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Mostly means saying racial slurs.
Yeah, that was, man. And the worst part is when I was younger, I thought I was like 4chan's so funny.
Yeah.
And then I grew up and I was like, that's disgusting, dude. Like,
yeah, it got worse and worse.
Yeah. Well, it was already bad then. I was just a dumb kid.
But they, it kind of kept on spiraling downwards.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But while we were discussing hip hop, you mentioned that you got into video game music. Is that a topic that you'd be interested in discussing with me?
I love video game music. I'm a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan.
Okay.
I'm a big music fan.
Yeah.
Sonic music to me is of the greatest music ever created.
Yep. I think we're in agreement there.
Except I vaguely remember a Facebook chat discussion with you. You like Sonic the Hedgehog too.
I do. Yeah.
That is, I will say this on air. That is the worst Sonic game.
Are you considering the entire catalog of Sonic the Hedgehog games?
Shoot, that's it.
Is it the worst of the acceptable Sonic the Hedgehog
It's the worst of the so-called classics.
Okay.
It is easily, but it's significantly bad. Like, I play Sonic 2 when I have literally nothing better to do, and it's the only game in front of me, and that has not happened since I was maybe 9. So I'm telling you right now, it is not a good game. And the music sounds like butt. It's just not good music.
Yeah.
It sounds awful. The instruments... I'm going to start rambling, but basically...
we went through this briefly via Facebook chat, but now we're going to really get into it.
Now we're getting into it. It's a debate. No, it's just not good music. And like I said, like the music from Sonic 1, fantastic. Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, killer soundtrack. And then when they started incorporating more, I guess you call it live music, when they started getting more into, guitars and kind of sounding like more punk rock, that was to me like peak Sonic music. Like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, some of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in my life. And that was another driving force behind me wanting to get into it, was I used to want to learn how to play drums for some of the stage music, and I was really into that. And it is important to me, because to me video game music is still music.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
just used in video games or produced solely for video games.
Well, especially now, there's not even really technical limitations to video game music.
Yeah.
So it can be just whatever.
Yeah, there's orchestras. Like the game I'm playing now on my Switch, Dragon Quest 11, the opening's done by this Tokyo orchestra. And I'm like, this is super cool. It's just full, even the Mario Galaxy games had a full orchestra behind them. And if you play them for somebody and don't tell them it's video game music, they're not going to know.
Yeah,
they'll be like, this is
not.
beautiful. And you're like, yeah, it's a video game.
Yeah. So when you say that you got into making video game music, do you have actual music in a video game that's available to people?
I do not.
Okay.
And I have a few things that I'm kind of dabbling in that I can't talk about just because they're projects for other people. But
that's something that you want to get into.
I can safely say live that I am going to continue to do video game music, and my hope is that it will be acknowledged and seen somewhere other than my studio at home. Or by studio, I mean the office I share with my girlfriend, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's a goal of yours to have your music in a commercially available video game.
Yeah.
A goal, and it's a realistic goal.
Well,
is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Separate from the music I do for this. Thieves is very separate from my other endeavors. I kind of do Thieves is the kind of bread and butter, for lack of a better term. It's kind of what I do. Then I have a couple of other kind of side projects I do where I make beats sometimes. I've tried finding rappers for them. It's really hard to find rappers that you like for the beats you make. And then the video game music is exclusively for people who approach me and go, hey, I'd like to have you make video game music for me. I don't really advertise a lot or anything, but it's something I'm down to do, and it's a lot of fun, but I'm kind of pushing Thieves full force now.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Well, since you're pushing it full force, should we play some more of the Thieves music? I have Home.
You have
and I know that you like that song.
Home is it's just because a lot of the old catalog on Thieves is very amateur recorded. I had a snowball microphone and a crappy desktop computer, and that's kind of how I recorded it. But Home is another one recorded by my engineer. I'm gonna drop a quick shout out. I've mentioned him a lot. It's my buddy Aiden Vickery. Aiden is a dude I met in 2016, I believe, actually, from my job and my brief stint in game testing.
Oh, fun.
And yeah, not really.
Yeah, I've heard it's awful.
It barely paid the bills, but him and I kind of just connected. I found out he was professional at what he does, and he's actually the dude who did my album, and he's killer. He also did this next one, Home, as a going away gift when I moved.
Oh, nice.
For me, so it was pretty sweet as well. So yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to play Home now. This is by Thieves. If you enjoy it and you want to listen to it again, it's available on the Thieves Bandcamp page. What's the URL for that?
It's Bandcamp. No, wait, sorry. How does it start again?
You start with the artist name.
Yeah,
Bandcamp.
it's I Am Thieves, IAMTHIEVES .bandcamp.com.
Right. Okay, so here is Thieves. Sorry, here's Home by Thieves.
There you go.
Oh, shoot. I had my track muted. Let's try that again.
All right.
Here is Home by Thieves. It's live radio, folks. Enjoy.
Hey baby, let's go to San Francisco. Let's watch the lights fall down on you. And maybe we'll hear your words of wisdom. We'll speak the work you taught so true. Wood creatures in denial, our thoughts sex for survival. Heaven is less than a mile away. We're tricked out southern babies and held by the hand which God have gave me. And Mary Ann Scott, please call me Katie. Can we take your house for the night? Help ourselves to your lives when no one else can see us. We've become more than exist. The less fortunate pigs. We fear what we have made. You made me. And here comes the sunset ravens, and every last drop of blood I take from thee. You gave me life in exchange for death and healing, and one last God to kneel before and pray. One summer I won't survive, and every other day I felt so alive, and every last word I held on to was love. I feel worse when I let you down. I never dealt with the demon till I met myself now, and helter skelter, won't you be my king? Her heart, I can feel it fading. Every last wound swept up your baby. Another gallon left to fulfill my painting. Can we take your house for the night? Help ourselves to your lives when no one else can see us. We've become more than exist. The less fortunate pigs. We fear what we have made. Can we take your house for the night? Help ourselves to your lives when no one else can see us. We've become more than exist. The less fortunate pigs. We fear what we have made. Can we take your house for the night? Help ourselves to your lives when no one else can see us. We've become more than exist. The less fortunate pigs. We fear what we have made.
That was Home by Thieves.
It sure was.
If you are listening to this, I need to remind you real quick. This is KRUI in Iowa City. It's 89.7 FM on the radio, krui.fm streaming online. And I've got the artist who wrote and performed that song sitting in front of me. Alex goes by the name Thieves. And as I mentioned last time we listened to one of your songs, 45 minutes or so ago, I don't really retain lyrics when I first listen to a song, but I have the lyrics to this one pulled up.
Okay.
Any chance this is related to Charles Manson?
How did you know? How did you figure it out?
I see Helter Skelter. I see We Are Family.
Yeah.
I see something about a baby and a painting. And the word blood.
Is it? Oh man, that one's too obvious.
If I hadn't been reading it, I probably wouldn't have picked up on it.
It's funny story actually. The song's original title was called Yellow, and it's because the song it's written from the perspective of Patricia Krenwinkel, I believe her name was.
And she was one of the family, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And some of her nicknames are actually one of them was Big Yellow. So I called the song Yellow, and during that time, all of my songs. Working titles had colors as their names.
Okay.
And then I found out that she had a ton of nicknames and different names, and that actually led to the line, Tricked Out Southern Babies.
Yes.
Held by the Hand Which God Have Gave Me. Marianne Scott, Please Call Me Katie. And those were two of her other alternative names.
Okay.
So when I kind of was writing that, I was like, Southern Babies, God Have Gave Me, like, what's next? And then I was like, oh, this is perfect. These are her two names. I just slapped that in there, and it...
Nice.
Like, it killed it. It was super great.
Good thing that rhymed.
Yeah, pretty much.
And this is something that doesn't come through when you're listening, but on the lyrics here, which you can, again, find on the Bandcamp page, iamthieves.bandcamp.com, God has the G in parentheses and lowercase. What does that mean?
It does. Well, when I first started putting my music online, I was actually doing something I'm not a big fan of now, and that's, for one thing, I was doing a lot of the lowercase letters on everything. Okay. I don't know if it's on that like there, or if it's on there like that, but it should be.
For the most part. Some of the sentences are capitalized, but mostly it's all lowercase.
I may have changed it. And the God thing is, a lot of my music also deals with the questioning. And the
questioning of religion and spirituality, that kind of thing.
And the thing is that it's funny because I get a lot of people who say, "Oh, so you must be like anti-religion," and I'm like, actually, no.
Just because they see that?
Yeah. Well, just when I talk about my music, because I mentioned that it's questioning, they're like, "Oh, so you must be anti-blank," and I'm like, "Nope, I'm not anti."
That's not what questioning means.
Yeah, it's literally just like, I don't know. I don't know all the answers. I haven't met anybody who does know all the answers, or at least not yet. So a lot of my music is about that. And the underlying theme when I first started writing for Thieves was, why do bad things happen to good people? And that was a major part of a lot of the songs I wrote. Now it's kind of evolved more into me talking a bit more about myself sometimes. Some of my songs are about personal issues I deal with, but I think I'm a good person. So
that's good.
It still runs along the theme of why do bad things happen to good people, but
because a bad thing might happen to you.
Bad things already have happened to me. They happen to me all the time.
Another bad thing might happen to you.
But the G in the parentheses was kind of just like I didn't want to explicitly say God at the time. Right. I was like, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to put it in parentheses, and people who choose to read it that way can, and people who choose to read it with other parentheses can. It's kind of depends on how you look at it. That was kind of the goal of
if it was just a straight, capitalized God, that implies you have, a decided reverence for the idea of God.
That's kind of what I was thinking when I first wrote it, and that's why I went back and changed it to that. So, yeah. That's pretty much it.
All right, good. Yeah, I like that explanation for such a small detail that I decided to ask about. So we are reaching probably the end of today's show.
Yeah.
Before we go, do you have anything you would like to plug?
I actually would.
Great. I
would, if I can remember all of it off the top of my head. Of course, the Bandcamp is iamthieves, iamthieves.bandcamp.com. Also, facebook.com/thievesmusic. And I also have I Am Thieves on Instagram as well, where I post a lot more personal fun stuff as well, but you can keep up with my music there. Also,
what was the Instagram URL?
I Am Thieves.
Okay, thanks.
And then if you want to find the song that we just listened to, Home, is on all major streaming platforms right now.
Great.
So you can actually go to bit.ly, like bit.ly, I guess. So bit.ly/thievesmusic. And from there you can access every streaming platform, whichever one you choose to use, and you can just click it and listen to Home.
Perfect. If you're listening to the show as a podcast, I'll include links to all of that in the show description.
All right. That's fantastic, because then I can go back to it and find my own music. No. Also, if I can, really quickly before we finish, I want to name drop a couple of my homies back home.
Yeah, tell me about them.
All right. Number one, I got this excellent hardcore band called Kennedy. They're Kennedy Noise, if you find them on social media. Excellent dudes who taught me a lot about music and recording music. Special shout outs to my buddy CJ, also known as Sig Sauer, CIG space SOUR. Fantastic rapper. Not just because he's my friend, he really is my favorite hip hop artist of all time.
Wow.
So yeah, and that's it. I think I'm good.
Great,
I'm good.
great. And you've got a new album coming out at some point.
Yeah, the big one is Oh Well is the name of the album. It's coming out sometime early 2020. I'm thinking Q1, Q2. So hopefully before summer really kicks in. It'll be my first full-length album produced by my buddy Aiden Vickery. And just keep an eye out for that. On all the social media and everything I plugged, you're going to be able to find updates on it there, including demos and outtakes and things like that, just for fun.
Awesome. We didn't really discuss this explicitly, but you are like everything on that album, performance-wise.
Yes, I play guitar, I play bass. I will admit I do play drums, but the drums on the album are a little more programmed. It's very hard to pull off drums in a small apartment.
Yeah,
so, but I'm hoping to meet some dudes who want to get together and maybe we can, kick off some live shows as a full band as well in the future. So that's the goal. But it is all entirely written and played by me and produced by my friend Aiden.
Okay, awesome. And I'm going to give you a little bit of my own plugs here before we go today.
All right.
We've got a concert coming up this month, iHearIC Showcase on October 25th at Trumpet Blossom. That's at 9 p.m., featuring performances by Project C4, who are visiting us from Kansas City. Jake Jacobs, who has been on this show before and has his own KRUI show on Friday nights called The Test of Lime. Joe Sorensen, who also has been on this show before and several other iHearIC live shows, and the Christine Burke Ensemble, who I'm sure if you listen to this show regularly, you are very familiar with. And then looking towards the future, we've also got iHearIC shows on November 21st at the Mill and December 13th at Trumpet Blossom. And that one will feature today's guest.
I will be playing December 13th. Yes, come, it'll be fun.
Yes, it will be fun, especially for me. And a couple of personal plugs. I will be playing at the Yacht Club on October 17th, opening up for Anna Lilly. I'll be playing some saxophone and laptop ambient music. And I'll also be playing at Yacht Club on the 29th for Free Weird Music number 2.
Sweet.
Yes. The free is in reference to the style of music. It'll be mostly improvised. I say that explicitly because I am not allowed to talk about how much a show costs live on the radio.
Oh, wow. Things that you learn I did not know that was a thing. Huh.
Yes, and I should have said that. I should have thought about that before I said the word. But I'll be performing with a friend of the show, Gabby Vanek, as our saxophone and bassoon duo,
Cool.
Drop Bear. And if you're looking for stuff to do this week, there are some other shows you may be interested in. Dallas Nicholson will be at the Nubo Synth Group at CSPS in Cedar Rapids on October 7th, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. On Wednesday, the 9th, at Yacht Club at 9 p.m., a show featuring Nasty Boys, A Day Without Love, and local Miss Christine. I'll be running sound for that show, so I'll be having a good time.
Nice.
And then on the 10th, on Thursday, also at Yacht Club, Porch Fire will be performing with local openers Rose Mask. And on the 11th, which is Friday, Everyday People Say What will be performing at Wild Culture Kombucha at 7 p.m. On the 12th, there's a writer's open mic at the Iowa City Public Library at 4 p.m. And next Saturday, the 12th at 8 p.m., the Iowa Music Project Benefit at Trumpet Blossom. I'll be back here in the studio next Sunday, again at 3 p.m. here at KRUI. I will most likely have a guest, but since I haven't confirmed with them explicitly since a few weeks ago, I won't say their name yet.
It's a mystery.
To avoid embarrassing anyone. If you like what you heard today, you can find more of it at our website, iHearIC.com. There's links to all of our social media, all of the podcast platforms there. I have 90 previous episodes of this radio show available online. And if you have music you would like me to hear or you want to get in touch with me for any reason at all, the best way to do so is via email, ihearic@gmail.com. Before we go, I'm going to play some brand new music by a friend of the show, Chaircrusher, Kent Williams. This is from a new release of his called Not This Time, and this track is called Grandma Moses. So before we turn the mics off, you have any parting words, Alex?
I just want to thank everybody who was able to tune in. My phone blew up a little bit during the breaks of people saying, keep it up, and it's so cool to hear you. And
awesome.
I also want to thank you for the opportunity to come on here.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me today.
Super awesome. I'm super stoked, and I hope to do it again sometime.
Yeah, I'm glad that you were able to come in today.
Excellent.
We had a good time together. All right, let's
That's
go.
it. I'm done.
Here's Grandma Moses by Chaircrusher. I'll be back next week. Alex will be back sometime, probably.
Sometime in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll make it happen someday. All right, here we go. See you all next week.
Hey, this is Moby, and you're listening to KRUI, the sound alternative.
Yes, now you can dance to the Bible.
You're listening to KRUI, Iowa City.